India is planning to reopen an old diplomatic post. It's isolated, it's dangerous, and it's steeped in Cold War history. I'm talking about North Korea. It may come as a surprise to a lot of you, but India does have an embassy in Pyongyang. Until 2021, we also had an ambassador there. But in July that year, the mission was shut down. All the diplomats were recalled to India. The reason? None given. New Delhi rarely comments on its activities in North Korea, but since this was 2021, maybe the pandemic was the reason. Either way, 3 years have passed and now India wants to reopen the embassy. Reports say a technical team has reached Pyongyang. Their first priority is security checks to sweep the embassy for bugs or snooping devices. And North Korea is notorious for this. They've always been suspicious of foreigners, so India is being extra careful. The next step is sending diplomats. Reports say the government is reaching out to some Western partners like Germany, the UK and Poland. These countries have already sent teams to Pyongyang, so their experience could be valuable. After all, this is a complicated diplomatic posting. You think Indian bureaucracy is slow? Well, look at North Korea. They take ages to make foreign policy decisions like okaying ambassadors. So expect a rocky road ahead. But the bigger question is, why is India reopening this embassy? What is New Delhi hoping to achieve? Well, there are 3 factors to note here. Number 1, India and North Korea are not strangers. They have a history of engagement. In the 1950s, India mediated during the Korean War. New Delhi managed the repatriation of prisoners after the fighting, so there is goodwill on both sides in North and South Korea. After the war, the engagements continued. In the 1970s, Pyongyang joined the Non-Aligned Movement. It's a group that India co-founded, the Non-Aligned Movement. And after the 1980s, some high-profile visits happened. North Korea's vice president and premier visited India. So did top officials of their Communist Party. They came to India. From India, the vice president visited Pyongyang in 1992. And the last major trip was in 2018. That's when India's Minister of State for External Affairs, General V.K. Singh, traveled to Pyongyang. You see, this is a relationship rooted in the Cold War. The West did not like North Korea. They also did not like India. So New Delhi and Pyongyang decided to collaborate, and one area they worked on was culture. North Korea hosts a film festival every 2 years. Indian films are among the few that make it. So bilateral exchanges are not new or surprising. That's one factor. Factor number 2 is Putin and Trump. In his first term, Donald Trump met Kim Jong-un thrice. He had 3 meetings. He tried to get Kim to abandon his nukes. Now, the talks did not produce anything significant, but the goals aligned with India's. New Delhi too wants a denuclearized Korean peninsula. So if Trump resumes the dialogue, India should not be caught off guard. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin has dragged Kim into his war in Ukraine. Reports say thousands of North Korean soldiers are fighting in Ukraine. Apparently, hundreds are already dead in the fighting. Despite that, the Putin-Kim relationship is expected to grow. Again, India will want to be ready for that. Which brings us to the third and final factor, to keep Pakistan in check. Islamabad and Pyongyang also have a long history. Pakistani scientists sold nuclear know-how to North Korea. They basically helped Pyongyang build a nuclear bomb. In return, Pakistan got missile technology. Even today, the nexus is alive. In 2022, India flagged this issue at the United Nations. Listen to this.
We would also like to reiterate once again the importance of addressing the proliferation of nuclear and missile technologies related to the DPRK. Proliferation of nuclear and missile technologies is a matter of concern as they have an adverse impact on peace and security in the region, including in India.
So India has good reasons to reopen that embassy to keep up its contacts in Pyongyang. But this news also got us thinking. How many embassies are there in North Korea? And how many foreign diplomats? We don't have official numbers from the regime, but reports say there are 24 diplomatic missions in North Korea. Most of them are located inside a special compound in Pyongyang. Only 3 embassies are located outside this compound. These are the embassies of China, Russia, and Pakistan. The US does not have a mission in North Korea, but a handful of European nations do, like Germany, Poland, Romania, the UK and Sweden. Most of them shut their operations during the pandemic, but this year some have reopened them. We're not talking about full-fledged missions though. Most of them are run by a basic team, and their life can be quite interesting. Diplomats are closely watched and policed. Some of them also have a government minder, someone who accompanies them on certain occasions. They're free to travel within Pyongyang, but to travel outside, you need permission. And what about interactions? Again, very difficult. North Korea keeps locals and foreigners segregated, so diplomats cannot mingle with Koreans. It's definitely a challenging posting. We haven't heard of any attacks or dangers to diplomats, but in the future, who knows? This is a regime known for suspicion, paranoia, and ruthlessness. It's not an ideal host for any diplomat.